G'day, Mick here, and welcome back to the Side by Side Australia podcast. This time we've got episode 5. It's the 7th of October, to give you a bit of a timeline of where we're at. And we've had the Scorpion Park ride a few weeks ago. We've got the Packsaddle ride coming up in a couple of weeks. So everything is happening for the club, and there's only one ride left after that one at the end of the year, which is in November, which is at Kingston in the Sand Dunes. So a lot to go through today. I know we're always talking about the Side by Side Club of Australia and promoting that club, but this podcast is actually all about promoting recreational riding, legal, fun, safe recreational riding all around Australia. So today we've got the first of our 2 interviews with tour operators who are running commercial tours and commercial rides around the country. We're going to be talking to Brody Roberts and Matt Simpson from Aus Overland Tours in Queensland. They're doing a bunch of stuff starting up in the Cape, and they've been doing a lot of rides for a while. You might recognise Matt Simpson's name. He's the fella behind the Manor Park rides, which had been happening for quite a few years, and we talk about that as well. We're going to talk to Orlando Parletta from Side by Side Trailriders of Victoria. So they're doing 1-day and 2-day rides basically in the Victorian region. Anyone can go to them, but they're really specialising in that region. So for the Victorian guys and guys living in Melbourne and the surrounding areas, it's really good opportunity for you guys to get your machines out and have a ride in different places all the time. So Orlando's doing some really good work over there in Vic, south of the border. We're going to have a talk to Luke Beechey from ATV Store. We're going to talk all things drive belts today. Obviously, one of those things that a lot of us have to deal with. So he's got a new range of drive belts from All Balls, and he's going to have a bit of a chat to us about those. So we'll talk to him later. And then we're going to wind up by talking about the Packsaddle ride, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. So I've got a lot of details for you guys who want to attend, you guys and girls and kids, everyone who wants to come. We will get to that one shortly. But for now, what we're going to do is have a quick chat about Scorpion Park. So that was a ride that we had on the 6th, 7th and 8th of September a few weeks ago. Great ride. Conditions were perfect. I never really thought the Scorpion Park track that we built, which was the Thumb Pump 300 track we built, over 15 years ago. A bunch of us old quad riding guys built all that and all the infrastructure and the shower block and everything. Never thought we'd be back there after all this time driving side-by-sides around the property. As we were warned by P.D. Wilhelms, that the tight stuff in amongst the sand dunes is probably not going to be ideal for side-by-sides. He was right. Hence my shovel, which mounts on my adventure rack on my X3, is still out there somewhere, so watch out if you're riding around that track. I couldn't find it. So we did the full track when we first got there, just to have a look, see how it was going to go. It was great, but those little short quad whoops, they're like 1.5 meters long and 1 meter deep in some cases. If you're going through those sort of whoops in some of the bigger side-by-sides, certainly the X3 Max that we were driving, as long as you can get up to pace, you just skip across the top of them. But when you're in the tight, twisty stuff, no good. You have to roll through them. So after the first lap, we decided, okay, we're going to build a different track. So when Noodles got there, he GPS'd it. He got the GPS files that he got from Petey. Thanks for providing those, Petey. Petey helped mark out the track for the Thumb Pump 300, which has started again for the quad guys. So Noodles created a track which was not just a perimeter track, but basically all of the high-speed sections. And there's still climbs, there's still some twisty stuff, but it was just an amazing track. And for a non-racer like me in a side-by-side, cutting 10 to 12-minute laps around that track was just incredible. So look, lots of new faces turned up to that Scorpion Park ride. A lot of the standard guys who come along, including our president, couldn't make it for whatever reason. I mean, Mark just got back from a month over in the States, so we can understand why he couldn't get there. But a lot of the regular guys couldn't actually make it. So it was good to see we still had similar numbers to what we would normally have. So we would have had a huge time if everyone turned up. So hopefully for Kingston, we'll get some really good numbers for that one. But the good thing was we met a lot of new people and a lot of new guys coming along, and girls and kids coming along and experiencing the club for the first time. A lot of people were swapping machines, having a bit of a ride of other people's machines, riding in other people's machines just to see what they were like, and that's what it's all about. It was a fantastic event for that. So we raised some good money as well. So all of those of you guys, especially the new guys who came along and said, "Oh, there's an extra $50, extra $100, whatever." Just hang on to it, put it towards the charity. Guys, that really goes a long way. And at the end of the year, when we donate that money to the Packsaddle Progress Association, I'm tipping there's going to be a really nice number that we weren't expecting. So that's great. So keep those donations coming. That's why the rides are so cheap, because we don't make anything out of it. But anything you can give us towards the charity opens up more properties for us to ride on. That's what it's all about. Okay, so I'll drop in the video now from the Scorpion Park ride. So anybody who's just listening to the audio podcast at the moment, I apologise. You're going to have 2 minutes, 20 seconds of a little bit of music, but then we'll be right on back. For the rest of you, if you haven't already seen it, these pop up on social media pretty much a couple of days after each of our rides anyway. But here's a video we put together from the Scorpion Park ride. Alrighty, I hope all you guys who came along to that ride enjoyed it as much as I did. That was a ripping ride. The first time I've ever done a sort of full lap of the Thumb Pump 300 track, even though I built it with a bunch of help. I've never actually raced it, never actually done a full lap consecutively. So, yeah, all those people who came along, thanks a bunch. It was a great weekend, really, really cool fun. Okay, next we're going to jump into the interview with Brody Roberts and Matt Simpson from Aus Overland Tours up in Queensland. Fellas, welcome to the podcast. We got Brody Roberts, we got Matt Simpson from Aus Overland Tours from up in Queensland. Brody, you're the ringleader. You're the guy who has been running these tours for ages. So you're the man who with the dirty hands, probably still at the moment. And Matt, you're really pushing the marketing and promotion side of these tours as well, which is fantastic. You're a great team. I'm just going to start off with Matt, because Matt, I've known you for a while, since we met at Three Ways or whatever, wherever it was, at a roadhouse. You rocked up with a bunch of Can-Ams, and I was in the Can-Am rig, and I couldn't just ignore you. So we started chatting, and next thing we're mates and we're on the phone. Now, you've been running the Manor Park rides. That's been your baby. Tell us a little bit about what that was all about.
The Manor Park rides were put on primarily around Brisbane because there was nothing else specifically for buggies. You could go for rides, and a lot of people are in state forests and around the place. But I wanted to put on an event that didn't require CAM's approval or anything. So Frank and Kathy Blenko were good enough to entertain us, and we went up there and put on events up to 40 buggies at a time would attend, and we had time trials, we had drag strips set up, and fantastic riding, 470 kilometres of tracks, and it was just unbelievable.
So from a trail riding perspective for side-by-side specific, it's probably some of the biggest events that have been happening in the country, and they've been awesome. And thank you so much for doing that for the industry and for your local guys. I mean, I know guys have been coming from all around the country to go to those rides, but now those rides aren't able to happen anymore for whatever reason that's happening in the background. We don't need to go into it here, but that's no longer possible. So you've teamed up with Brody, and we've got these 100%. Amazing epic Cape York rides coming up. So Brody, if I switch over to you, tell us what this is all about, mate.
Right. So the whole idea is obviously been in the industry for a little while. We're a fully registered tour guide company, so we've got everything that we need. The idea is that we can go to these places in Australia that people want to go to. We can do it safely, we can do it correctly, and we can do it under the provisos and the guidance of the police, the local councils, so that we're not causing a menace to anybody and other people on the road. The idea is that ideally we want to be able to run these all year round in all different locations. Obviously, the Cape is one of the ones that we do, and we've run quite a few of them. But it's sort of it's a hard thing to do. It's insurance wise is just an absolute nightmare, as a lot of people with buggy clubs and that understand. So we're just going along. We've gone through the process, and we are where we are now, and we're set up to go. Matt got hold of me to say, hey, look, come down to Manor, see what we do here. Let's see if we can work together. And it's just blossomed from there. Obviously, we've got a tour coming up in November.
You're in Cairns, right?
I'm in North Queensland. Oh, I'm in Port Douglas, yeah.
Port Douglas, and you went all the way down to Manor Park to catch up with Matt and to do the ride.
Twice. and to race. Like the first time I went down there, I didn't understand it as a huge amount, and I get there and Matt's like, "You're going to sign up to race?" And I was like, I've never raced the buggy before. I've only just toured it. I was like, hell yeah, jump in. And
one buggy out at a time with a time trial, bro.
Time trial, not a race. So it's just a bit of a time trial sort of set up. So it was really, really good. It was a big eye opener. And that's sort of where the relationship started. And now, like I said before, we've got the November trip coming up. That was a bit of a throw together at the end of the year. There's probably 4 or 5 blokes that are really, really keen that just want to do everything. But without the numbers, it's just not going to happen. We know it was a little bit of a ditch effort at the end of the year, but that may or may not go ahead. It's still available to go ahead if people do want to go. But a few of the diehards have got a few extra things that they can't move aside to make this one happen. But next year we've got a full category of where we want to go and what we want to do.
And we'll be releasing those dates. There'll be 4 dates to start with for next year, and we're at different locations as well. So we'll be posting those in the very near future, within the next 4 or 5 weeks.
Beautiful. Now
there'll be plenty of notice so that people can get involved.
Yeah. Now I've done a couple of Cape York trips. I did one on quads and one in side-by-sides. But the tours that you guys are doing are very different. They're very grassroots. They're all about enjoying the outback. You're not staying in motels. You're sleeping in your swags. If you want to stop at a water hole and have a swim, you bloody well stop and have a swim. You know, it's not doing. You got to do 300 k's today to get there. Otherwise, you're not going to have a bed. There's none of that.
Look, the one thing that I've heard from other trips that have been done up there in the past is you're riding 7, 8, 10 hours a day, flat out, all that. That to me isn't enjoyable. I'd rather drive a couple of hours, go somewhere special, have a camp, have some lunch, ride for the rest of the afternoon, have a bit of a fish somewhere, set up camp, have a nice dinner. So it's not all rush. And this is one thing that I said to Brody, we want to change. We want to make sure that it's a pleasant 7 days. There's plenty of time to set up camp. We're not doing it at 10 o'clock at night when you've rolled in.
Yeah,
So we've got a chef that comes with us. So the food is still all food safe accredited. So everything's above board that way. It is camping. So as much as it's still got food safe and everything we have to have with for our insurance, it's still camping. There's damper, there's fishing. If we catch barra, guess what? We're having barra for dinner. Some of the local Aboriginal communities that we deal with, the boys will take us out and go spearing at the places where we are, catch mud crabs, and we'll sit around and have a campfire with them. We'll engage the local communities that we go through. There's no point cutting through these beautiful places, these beautiful communities, and absolutely skipping out on all the local knowledge and the experience behind it. So instead of it being a rush, it's not a race. We're just cruising along, having a bit of fun. Pull up, mate. If we pull up and we decide it's good fun and everyone likes swimming here, and we're allowed to camp, guess what? That's where we're going to camp. Like, we do have a set out times and dates to suit our permit that we have to follow, but we can change them enough so that we can camp and fish and just have a good time. That's the whole idea. Is that some people get to a point and they say, "Look, bro, I'm done. I can't go anymore. My back's sore or whatever." A lot of these blokes, some of them are retired, and 8-9 hours getting flogged around in them buggies is not the comfortablest. So if they just sit me up and say, "Hey, bro, let's pull up," I'm like, "Right, let's go, mate." I'm happy for that. I'm not there to anyone to have a bad time. It's all about having fun and building a good community so that the areas we go to, they see that we're not making a mess. We're not being idiots. We're not ripping the roads up, and we're respectful. We clean up as we go so that everyone has a good time. Plus, the communities want us back in there.
Well, that's what it's all about, because we want everyone else to be able to experience it once you guys come back and show us how good it was. Now, I'm going to ask the questions, the really tough questions that everyone's going to want to hear. I know it's 7 days, and you're travelling up and you're travelling back, so you're starting and finishing where your vehicle is. So there's none of this freighting your gear or anything. You don't have to worry about any of that. I want to know, if I come, do I still get to do Frenchman's?
Yes.
Yeah.
So obviously the rules have changed a little bit now.
Yep.
So the idea and the way that we work is that we get to go from Portland Roads, from the station that we have there. There's 2 or 3 stations we have options, depends whether they're booked out or not. And then we go on to the Frenchman's. We still get to do the telly track. We still get to do Punsand Bay. We get to do the 7 Beaches loop, and that is what everybody wants to do. You get the photo at the tip. We stop at the croc tent, and you still get all the great stuff about it. And the idea is the 7 days. Yes, it's a shorter trip. The days are the same, but you get to experience a lot more in those 7 days.
Mate, all I wanted to know is that the 3 things that I loved the most out of the 2 tours I did up there, am I going to be able to do them? And it's Frenchman's, telly track, and getting to the very tip up to that sign, stick your toes in the water and saying, I got to the top of Australia. And you're doing all of those things in 7 days. Mate, that's amazing.
Well, last time I was there, I caught a good barra off the tip, so I'm keen to try and do that one again, but I don't think it's going to happen.
It's a long way off those rocks as well. I mean, there's a lot of nasty bitey stuff out there. I try to get away from there as quick as I could, but it's amazing to get all the way up to the top.
Yeah, no, it is very, very good, and like I said, we've got a couple of locals that live up there that they cross over work with myself doing earthworks and that, so it's really good. So I get to deal with them on a daily basis, and then when we do our trips, he's like, mate, come up. I've got brothers, I've got uncles, I've got cousins, and they're so welcoming for the communities, and we're happy to spend our money, buy our fuel in the communities, buy our food in the communities, and it just helps everybody out, and it's a great thing for everyone to do.
It's nice to hear that there's a sustainable professional tour happening up there now that people can go along and do. And guys, well done. It's a credit to you. I can't wait to see the photos and videos from your next trip.
The other thing that makes a big difference is we've got a full drive service truck. Mate, anything we can't fix on the trip,
ain't worth fixing.
I can't think of what it would be, because we carry front arms, we've got knuckles, we've got all the clutch stuff, we've got belts, we'll have spare cages in the truck if we needed to switch out a cage because somebody accidentally binned it. Mate, we'll all pack a scrum on it and get it done overnight.
More importantly, do you actually have a mechanic going with you who actually knows how to fit all these bits? Because I don't.
100%. Fully qualified mechanics coming on the trip with us. And if you want your buggy fixed on the trip, mate, you just ask one of the mechanics to do it, and they'll come over and get in line. with everybody else, and let's get them all done overnight.
Yeah, but the thing
And
is,
yeah,
when you,
that's another big issue that we do have is when people on these trips is people do get a little bit excited, and we do try and calm people down. It's not a race. It's just go simple, go easy. Because every time we have a big accident, we're in the limelight of every person who's around. And you're in Cape York. Everyone's got a phone. Everyone's got a GoPro. So look, it's always one of those things. I tell everybody at the start, look, just take it easy, go with the flow. It's a good, fun trip. We don't want to be sitting up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, putting new clutches and gearboxes and transfers, and it will do it to keep people going, but
it takes
I
a
would
fun.
much rather sit around and have a few beers and have a laugh than trying to rebuild someone's buggy at 3 in the morning. Plus,
You had
depends
me
where
at
we're camping. Some of the neighbours don't like it.
Yeah, true. True. Awesome. All right, guys. We'll wrap it up here, but thank you so much for giving me all that feedback and all that info. I know we've touched base a couple of times and chatted about what these tours are all about. All I can say is more power to you. Keep them coming, and we'll keep sending guys in the club up to you as often as they want to go.
Yeah,
Thanks for
100%.
having us on. You're an absolute legend, mate.
Easy, brother.
Nah, thank you.
Anytime.
Cheers.
Alrighty, well, we've got the theme rolling of talking about other ride opportunities around the country. Going to jump straight into the interview I did with Orlando Parletta from Side by Side Trailriders in Victoria. We'll jump straight into that now. Righto, special guest, Orlando from Side by Side Trailriders over in Victoria. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, I'm really well, Mick. Thanks for having me on today.
Not too easy. You're doing so much good, especially for the Victorian side-by-side riders who just need places to ride. You've got these opportunities and you're doing them, basically every month you've got a ride on. It's just crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of activity going on, and we're just a bunch of a group of riders who want to go out on our side by sides and have fun. And so a lot of our friendship group and now people in the sort of Victorian community with side by sides have sort of come together and come check it out, and then you see these common faces at the events, and it's a really nice social gathering. The side by side crew. Really lovely bunch of people, willing to come out and help you if you need a hand. Just, really generous. It's a really nice environment, really family friendly environment to be part of. And so, yeah, I've been enjoying running the events and meeting the guys and the girls who come out and ride as well. So we've got a few juniors. So that's always awesome to see.
Yeah. So how does that work with the juniors? They can jump in the passenger seat any age, or?
Yeah, so there are some restrictions there. So we've got riders who can come on board as a junior. So once they're 14, they can sort of come on board and pilot the machine. So we've got a couple that jump in, and some are damn quick too. Us older guys can't keep up, so we're only there to have a bit of fun. But
you got young Angus Moncur come along too, don't you? He's from Queensland, Victoria. He's a club member as well. He's a really good helper in our club, and so he's not quite 16 yet, so he can't drive in the side by side club of Australia rides, but with yours he can. Yeah. So that's awesome.
Yeah, so no, we've got a good variety of guys coming along, and passengers can jump in, so it's all free for passengers, and encourage family and friends to come and enjoy the day in the passenger seat as well. So that's always good.
So it's not racing; it's trail riding. So
definitely
just having fun.
100%. You can just go at your own pace, that sort of thing. We start the buggies off with, sort of a gap and that sort of thing. And there's some rules around the overtaking, just so there's some etiquettes there. So it's not too intimidating for any new riders that are coming across. The tracks are set up and the trails for all levels. So if you're, a faster, more advanced rider, there's lots of opportunity for you to go have fun, explore yourself and the buggy's potential. 100%, yeah. And if you're coming up for your first ride, like many, there's fun, safe sort of place to do it, and not not be intimidated by quicker riders and that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
I
So
mean, some of the racing guys are going to come along, and I know some of the manufacturers and the dealers come along as well, and some of those guys can certainly steer. But like if I had a CF Moto or a Segway or a Polaris or a Can-Am or any of the manufacturers that are all starting to bring out really good sport machines now, I wouldn't have to feel like, oh, I can't go to that. It's a Can-Am thing or it's a Polaris thing. It's anybody can bring their side by side and play.
100%. Yeah, it's open to all the sort of brands and to come down as long as they meet the sort of safety requirements. So a lot of the Can-Am, Polaris, their general sort of machines meet those sort of safety requirements from the roll
ROPS
cage
approved
sort of
roll
thing,
cage.
and things like that. And when you're looking at CF Moto, Segway, things like that, their quality is just getting they're starting to become really competitive and at a high level and meeting that safety requirement. So where there's an unrecognized brand and there's some people in the market selling that sort of thing, we probably, unless we are happy with the safety of the roll cage, that sort of thing, we would normally steer away. But we're happy to have a look at anything that sort of makes sense. It's going to be safe and it's going to fit in. And roll with it. So for sure.
So some of the properties that you use are like enduro type loops, and some of them are like motocross tracks, but they're all easy at any level. You just go at the pace that suits you.
Yeah, 100%. It's funny. We went to our first motocross track and it was up at Ballarat. So we're up on that track there and called Monza Park, and it's a pretty extreme, I guess, track, big jumps, that sort of thing. And everyone who went there, I think none of us, apart from there was one or two races, I think Simon Evans and the team were down who had raced and knew that track, and we all went at our pace and just rolled over. We didn't jump anything. We just literally drove over it, and they're not lipped or anything, so you can drive over it. There's no need to jump. It's quite fun, and then you can go fast on the straight. And we're getting better and better. And as you said, some of the races that come pass down some really good tips. They get us to jump in. We're having a look at how they drive, and we revisited a few of those different tracks over time. And was talking to a bunch of guys, and it's funny how our skills have gotten better on a motocross track, and we got to the point where we could then clear the whole tabletop, but it's taken some time. And most of us still just bop over stuff, but we were saying our riding's getting a lot better. We would never have gone out and did that.
You just need to see somebody else do it and see, oh, they hit it about that pace. Okay, well, I'll try that. Nothing gets you to improve quicker than following somebody around a track, that's for sure.
Yeah, and so I remember clearing my first tabletop and landed right on the down ramp. It was a big jump. All I could see was air and right speed, and it was like butter landing. It landed softer than it did when I was short landing it. And things like that. So so we're all just learning in the experience, but majority of the rides we do are trail rides as well, and that's how an example of different us at different skill levels, but still being able to enjoy the day without making it dangerous. We just ride to our potential. We have driver's brief and some etiquettes in place. We have recovery vehicles on site, so you can rest assured that you're going to get assistance. And all the side-by-side guys are wonderful, and they'll stop, lend a hand if something breaks down, that sort of thing, and and get you back to base safely.
I know in the side-by-side club, there's a lot of situations where some of the racing guys come along and just helping with the clickers on the shocks and how to set the machines up. It's just walking through the pits chatting to people. It's not a stand around training session. It's just a conversation, just a chat of like-minded people. But obviously people are at different levels and they just share that knowledge. That's why the side-by-side community is so good.
Yeah, it's incredible, and it's a lot happens off the track, doesn't it? Like there's a lot of really good networks and a lot of good information from the guys, and we're all ears. So we love having the races come down, and as well they have a ball because it's a different thing. You can go in and out as you please throughout the day. You come grab some lunch. Yeah, and you know, and they've still got all their race events there, which are really fun and competitive, you know, wheel to wheel stuff. And they can come out, they shake down their machine, have a bit of fun, and go from there. So,
Beautiful. So,
which
so
is cool.
if someone's based in Melbourne and or in Victoria or even in South Australia over the eastern side or whatever, and they want to come and take part in one of your rides, number one, how do they find out about these rides and how do they register? So we'll cover
Yeah,
that first.
wonderful. Yeah, wonderful. So we publish all of the rides and events on Facebook, Instagram. So you can look out for us under side by side, which is SXS Trailriders. And you'll find our page with all the events, all the photos and footage and bits and pieces, which is always fun to see after the event. And then if you're looking to register, you can jump on our online platform, which is www.sxstrailriders.com.au. And there you'll see all the events. Currently, we've got one open for Possum Park on sort of border of Victoria, South Australia, but
Oh, yeah,
more
that's the
inland.
next one
So
coming up, isn't it?
it is on October 19th and 20th. That's a 2-day trail ride at the Enduro Park there. Really fun sort of a track, 25 kilometers or so long, big rolling grass hills, rally tracks. It's then got trails, sand trails up through the tree lines for a bit more technical things. It's got some river crossings. It's got large tractor tires and mini jumps and things like that, on-site camping or local accommodation, and fully catered for lunch on both days. And we're running that for any local guys that want to just do the single day, or it's open to that as well. But it'll be a 2-day event, so you can do both days. So that's going to be really fun.
Beautiful. So that's October 1920. So
Yeah,
same
it is.
weekend as the Cyberside Club of Australia Packsaddle ride, but that Packsaddle ride is another 8 hours north of there. So that's a long way to go. But again, another epic ride. But this is what it's all about. It's just we just need to help each other out, make sure everybody finds out about all of these rides, because there's no excuses. I don't want to get a side by side, or I can't use my side by side because I've got nowhere to use it. Believe me, if you're in the southern part of Australia, certainly in Victoria or South Australia, there's so much going on thanks to people like yourself. So good on you, mate. You're doing a killer job.
Yeah, great. And we're seeing a lot of people getting a lot of confidence now, seeing a lot of different events and want to partake in it, and getting the confidence to say, okay, I'll then get into a side by side, or they'll just come and have a look at an event, and they
Yep.
can see that, oh, it's family friendly. This is something I can do with, husband, wife, or my partner, etc., or get the kids involved. And then make that commitment and go see their dealer, or get something, secondhand or whatnot, and just come out and have some fun
Yeah, I definitely
as
recommend
well.
anyone
So
anyone going to one of your rides or a side by side Club of Australia ride. If they don't have a side by side, you just want to go along and have a look. Take a helmet, because there's going to
yeah.
be someone there who says, "Chuck a lid on, jump in, I'll take you for a lap." That's the way to find out what it's
Oh,
all about. Just tell us a little bit about 90 Mile Beach and the ride that you had there.
wow, that's an impressive place. They run the 6-hour enduro motocross event there, so a big event to be able to hang on to those things for 6 hours. And we got it all leveled prior to our event, and now we're going to be backing on to that event each year as well, which is really exciting. Side by sides have never been there before,
Yep.
and so that they're the only two things that happen on that property for the whole year. That's it.
Wow.
And they don't want any more events out there. That's it. So we've got some support from local council as well, because obviously it brings a lot of more tourism into the region,
Hmm.
which is good. But yeah, 25-kilometer sand loop, which we ran on the Saturday. Half of that is this open rally, amazing sort of riding, and then it goes into this more tighter tree line section with the sand. So really cool stuff. That night we leveled it out again and reversed the track direction to the Sunday, and it
Awesome.
just felt like a totally new track.
Yeah, whole new property. Look at that.
Yeah, and that was a lot of fun.
So you had a few of the manufacturer dealers come along and help out at the rides and take part. I know you were saying before to me off air that Brendan Issel from Peter Stevens in Ringwood has been coming to your rides. He's a great guy. I've done a bunch of events with him. It's awesome that the manufacturers and the dealers are getting involved.
Yeah, 100%. And they provide a lot of the mechanical parts and support at the event. They did at 90 Mile Beach and a few of our other sort of rides, and so that worked out really well. They've got their own side-by-side machine that they bring, and I understand they might have be upgrading that to the new Mavar, so I'm looking forward to seeing that on track when it's ready and it comes through.
They are mad.
So that's exciting.
In Tassie at one of our tours earlier in the year, and they are next level. So, yeah, I'm loving the Can-Am Polaris. We've got the best machine. We've got the best machine thing going on at the moment. It's really cool.
They're incredible. We had Melbourne Sea-Doo, so Sammy from up there, he came to one of our events and helped us out a lot. And he launched the Mavar when it first came out.
That's the Maverick that came to Tassie. Same one.
Yeah, wow, right. So that was impressive.
Yeah.
That was amazing. So so we definitely get Melbourne Sea-Doo involved. Polaris Melbourne come down as well. Even Polaris Australia help us out a lot. First time I saw a Pro R came down to a Cockatoo event. There was a couple, and I just couldn't believe it. The front A arms and the rear trailing arm. It's a full box. Like I'm looking at it going, that is really strong.
Yeah,
you're like, wow. I was shocked. So we all love it. I love seeing all the different machines and things like that. But
so it's going to be interesting to see what Segway and CF Moto come out with next. There's some very interesting machines coming from those guys.
100%. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some of their products as well. So I saw some of the earlier CF Motos, and one chap brought one to the event, and it did quite well. But some of the new stuff looks really next level.
Yeah. It's it's going to be a very interesting next couple of years, that's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And the four-seater market that we're talking about is really picking up as well. We had Can-Am four-seater come to our Rosebud event. So we just ran the Rosebud as a motocross track up there, sand track, pro sand track. And it's the deepest sand track from Rosebud all the way up through WA. So this is a really deep sand track. Yeah. And the Rosebud Motorcycle Club run the Sandmasters sort of MX race events, and they televise it on 7+ and all this on 31. So it's all televised, and we were talking to them, and they wanted the side-by-sides to come on the pro sand track whilst they had their race on, and they were going to televise it live, and they're just editing the footage now, but it's going on 7+.
That's awesome.
31, and so that should be up shortly. So I'll have to let you know once that's up. But we had a four-seater Can-Am come to that, and that did incredibly well on the motocross track. Funny enough,
that's it. Not four-seaters. That's what I drive. That's what Noodles drives. We love them. We would never go back to a two-seater once we've had a four. So if anyone's questioning whether the big whale of a four-seater side-by-side, I think most of the manufacturers do them now, whether they're just going to be too slow or too bulky, get in one. They're just a nicer ride. They're so smooth.
Yeah.
Awesome, mate. All right, so next ride, Eden Hope. It's going to be a big one. Hopefully everyone's going to come along to that one and take part. So if you're in Victoria or that region, make sure you jump on to SXSTrailriders.com.au and register for that ride and go up and hang out with the guys for the weekend, or just go for the day. Either way, take plenty of photos, take plenty of video. We'd love to hear your feedback on how those rides are going. And Orlando, we've got to get you to come along one of our club rides, maybe Kingston later in the year. See what we can do.
Oh, I'd love to. Yeah, I'd love to come up and come for a ride with you guys as well. It's always exciting, all the side-by-side space, and we'd love to, for sure.
Awesome. Sounds good. All right, buddy. Thank you so much for your time.
No worries. Thanks for having us on. Lovely chatting with you, Mick.
We'll get you back on real soon. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, anytime. Take care. Bye-bye.
Mr. Beechey, we're back again in sunny Queensland. How are things up at ATV store today?
Yeah, good, mate. Really good. Keeping busy as always. So good to see you, and good to see what you guys are doing with the podcast and the Side by Side Club and everything. So I've been following that closely, and yeah, it's good to see.
Beautiful. And today we're talking drive belts. What have you got in front of you there, buddy?
Yes, it's a new range of drive belts by All Balls. So only recently come into the market. They are new in the market, so we don't have a huge amount of feedback and stuff on them yet. But from what we have seen and what people do tell us and some of the overseas sales and, people using them, they are going well. They're a quality belt. So they come out of Bando, which is a Japanese-made belt, which is really good. So not many belts come out of Japan, but the quality ones do. So, G-Boost come out of Japan. The All Balls ones come out of Japan. These belts do run up to 20% cooler. The ones we have sold, we've been getting really good feedback of belt life, but also, grip and how they are using them. So they seem to be working really well. So we've got them for quite a large range of vehicles as well, which is, you can use on our ATV store website, using the fitment finder. Plenty of options available there. And, we're going to be getting more and more as the range grows as well. So.
Okay. So you've got these in stock right now, so people can order them up and they'll have them in a couple of days.
Yeah, we do. So as anything we have on our website, it's in stock, ready to go. Order before 2 p.m. We guarantee we'll get it out that day. We do express shipping Australia-wide. So exactly, when someone needs a drive belt, they usually need it because they've broken one. No one's usually buying it as a spare, or farmers and stuff. And, even the sport guys, I should say, they should carry a spare, but not a lot of people do. So, you break a drive belt, you need to get one quickly. We can definitely help you out.
Okay, now I'm going to jump onto something right now which is related, but we haven't even spoke about, so I'm going to put you on the spot. But I know you've got a lot of history in this sort of product. So someone buys one of these drive belts, you ship it up to them, they decide they're going to throw it on. What should they do? What's the process in running in a drive belt?
Well, the first thing I say to people is when you break a belt, pull the old belt out. A lot of people don't get all the bits and pieces out. All the bits and pieces, they break and they go in there. You've got to get an air blower in there. Make sure you blow it right out. Push your clutches in and out.
Don't they?
They do, and they go everywhere. Like I've seen guys, blow a belt, pull the pieces out of the clutch cover, put a new one on, and the thing will blow again in 5 minutes because they don't take all the pieces out. All the bits and pieces, they go up the vents and everything. So the biggest thing you can do is, clean it right out. Get everything out of there. Sometimes the belt can even leave black marks on the sheaves, so you've got to get a Scotch pad. You've got to clean the sheaves up a little bit and then, nice fresh rags, contact cleaner, give them a really good clean. And then everyone's different with their belt running and stuff. I'm a big fan for you just put it on, let it idle for a few minutes while the vehicle's warming up. Go through the revs and let the belt go up and down the sheaves to warm it up. Just take the shine off it. If there's any little bit of glaze on it, try and take that off. Everyone's different. I'm like a 5 to 10K guy where you'll, do 5 to 10Ks where you'll just, cruise on and off, faster, slower, and just letting the belt bed in, and then let it cool down, like running in an engine sort of thing, So just let the belt bed in and do what it needs to do, and then you're going to get longer life out of it. So
you don't run them in like our buddy Paul Smith would do, where basically just put it in and then nail it. Yeah.
Yeah. He will just do it. He'll break it and then just put another one in. So he'll just keep doing it.
His theory with running an engine in was always, well, once you push the choke in, she's run in.
Yes, and that it always works for him though. So
it does. I don't know how he does it. He probably doesn't do it much anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, so
exactly.
Are these drive belts directional?
So so the thing with a drive belt is, and a lot of people don't realise this, it doesn't matter what brand it is. When you get a drive belt, if you're putting it on, so let's quickly have a look here. So we've got writing on it. You want to read the writing as if it's the right way up. Like if you've got the drive belt on you, you've got your two clutches and the writing's upside down. No, switch it around. Now, some people say it doesn't make a difference. I know from people I've spoke to in the belt game who've been doing it forever, they say it does make a difference. It doesn't matter what brand drive belt it is, whether it's OEM or aftermarket. That's how you want to do it. You definitely want to put it on that way. So.
Okay, no dramas. And so if someone's been running recreational riding, like the sort of stuff we do in the club, and they've had a belt in there for, let's say, a year, it's probably not a bad idea for them to take that one out, tuck it away in the buggy somewhere with the tool to make it so they can replace it out on the trails and pop a new belt in, maybe once a year, worst case.
Definitely. Some guys only use their buckies a couple of times a year, and it's a great idea to still do that. Some guys use them every weekend, Yeah, exactly. So, but no, I think it's a great idea, put a new belt in every year, keep the old one, keep them out of the sun. That's the one thing, like guys will zip time to the cage, which is a great idea and it's a handy backup. But the fact is the thing in the sun's not good. So put it in a cover. You can get special belt bags. So we're going to have some of them on the website soon. Keep them protected and out of the weather as well. And that way, when you do need it, it's going to get you to where you need to go. So
beautiful. So it's not like drive belts and new technology. This is just the current technology. It's been around for years and years and years. And let's face it, every sport side by side that's out there, apart from a couple right at the high end, all run drive belts anyway. So it's all part of the game. Beautiful. And these belts are a good thing. So if you want to get a spare drive belt, then definitely get your hands on one of these at ATV store.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, check it out. We've got them all on there, all make and model fitment. So yeah.
Cool beans. Thanks, buddy. Chat to you next time.
All right, mate. Talk soon. Bye.
So Dave, first run with the solid helmet. What are your thoughts?
It's actually pretty good. Pretty happy with it. It's pretty light, plenty of ventilation. I do like the pop-down visor.
Nice.
I did, however, get a bug right in the middle there.
I can see that. That would have taken your nose out or gone up your nose.
Which is good. Luckily, I had this clicked on because you can take that off. And it's actually pretty good without it, but that will save you from bug splatters. Yep. So I rate it.
Very cool. And the peak is not a massive peak. You don't need a big peak in the buggy.
It's good in the buggy because being tall, it doesn't hit anything. So no, I'm happy with it.
Very good. Thanks, mate. Rightio, Packsaddle Tour. This is the big one, guys. This is the one we've all been waiting for all year. It's going to be a ripper. I cannot wait. Now, I'll jump straight into it and give you some details of what's going on. I know I've sent an email out and there's been a bit of information popping up here and there. We've had a few conversations between a few of us. Noodles is organising all the navigation. It's quite vague going into this. You've got to realise we've never been to this area before. We've basically been told this is the region you can go in. We've got permission from the property owners in all of these regions. So that's Packsaddle Station, the Veldt, Nunduka Station and Undora Station. So there's 4 stations. In total, it's just over 1 million acres. It's 1 million acres. That's bonkers. Now, we're not going to see a hell of a lot of that over a day and a half, but we're going to see some really cool stuff. It leaves it open for us to come back next year again if we want to do that. We're going to have a look and see what the terrain is like. There's going to be a lot of stuff that we miss. There's going to be a lot of stuff that we see. Hopefully we don't have any issues and we don't chew up too much time so we can just continuously have adventures and explore around the area. Okay, so the plan is Friday, October 18 is the day that we start. So some of us are travelling up from Adelaide. We're going to stay at Yunta on the Thursday night. At the hotel there. They're bringing the chef back in. I think they called him a cook. He's going to cook our food. We're going to have a feed there on that Thursday night, stay there overnight so that we can get up into Broken Hill nice and early on Friday. I've got to go in and do a fuel drop into Nunduka Station, which is where we're going to have lunch on Saturday. So I'm just going to take a bunch of jerry cans full. It's only just off the highway to get to the station. I'll drop them off. So on Saturday when we get there, if anyone's getting low on fuel, there will be fuel there. And then I'll just pick up what's left on the way back down. So arrive by lunchtime at the Packsaddle Roadhouse on Friday 18th. We're going to start the ride probably 1:30, maybe even 2 o'clock. So it'll give you a chance to get into the Roadhouse, have some lunch there. And I mean, you can bring your own food if you like, but these guys at the Packsaddle Roadhouse are really looking after us. Even if you're camping there, if you're not staying in the motel, you can still use their showers, their toilets, all of their facilities and everything. There's powered sites you can pay for, or there's free camping if you don't need power. I'm getting a room because I'm old and I'm a sook. A bunch of the guys are getting rooms. Some are just camping, entirely up to you. So Friday, grab your lunch there at the Roadhouse and we'll be able to catch up and do our sign-ins and all that sort of stuff, probably in the pub. It was going to be the easiest thing. Then 1:30, 2 o'clock, we'll go for a ride, probably only for a few hours. It's daylight saving now, guys, so we've got plenty of light. So it's probably only a few hour ride just to shake down, make sure everything's okay. There's going to be a lot of people coming on this ride that we don't know. We don't know their machines. We don't want to get out in the middle of station country on Saturday, be 4 hours away from base and find that someone's machine's not up to scratch. So we need to make sure that we get that shakedown done as we usually do. So aim to be at Packsaddle Roadhouse by lunchtime. Worst case scenario, 1:30. If you're not there by 1:30 and we've left, no riding for you that day. You've got to be with us for the permit to be covered for covering you. If you get there late, sorry guys, just hang around. We'll be back and then we'll get a massive ride on Saturday. It'll still be well worth the trip. Okay, so on day one, we're going to be doing the shakedown into Nundura Station, which is southeast of the Roadhouse. So on that side, on the eastern side of the highway. So that'll be just for a few hours. And then we've got 3 stations on the western side of the Roadhouse to explore on Saturday. So that's day 2. Day 2 is a big day. So we'll be going through from Packsaddle Station, the Veldt, and Nunduka Station. Now, Nunduka Station is the one owned by the lovely lady who is helping us organise all of this. That's Lisa. So she's also putting on a lunch, which is part of what your entry fee is for the lunch. You're going to be putting on a spread at her station, at Nunduka Station. So we get to travel around. We don't have to go back to the Roadhouse. We're just out in the middle of nowhere, pull into the big station. She's going to have a lunch spread on there for us, plus we'll have the fuel drop there if we need it. And then we'll finish up the ride back to the Roadhouse again for dinner at the Roadhouse in the pub. So again, Friday night and Saturday night, we'll be having dinner at the pub. So you don't need to bring any food stuff at all. Breakfast starts at 8 o'clock. We're going to be leaving hopefully before that on Saturday to make sure we make the most of it. But they are looking at whether they can serve us breakfast a little bit earlier. If you want to take your own food, look, that's completely fine. I just like supporting the locals when we're there and when they're in the area. So it'd be better for us to get our food from them, but up to you. Sunday morning when we get up, again, have breakfast. Breakfast will be from 8 o'clock on the Sunday, and then load up and travel home. It's going to be a long trip for most of us to get home. So we've left that Sunday as a travel day, so you can be back at work on Monday. Sorry, guys. Not for everybody, but for most of us. Now, we've got media attending this ride again, which is great. We had the guys from Bike Sales at one of the rides in the Flinders Ranges. And we've got the guys, I believe it's from NRMA, coming out to write an article on the NRMA magazine to go in there for a coming up article of that, an issue. So they'll be coming along and driving the BRP Maverick X3 that I'll have with me as well, the spare machine. And that's all to promote the club and to promote recreational side-by-side adventuring in Australia. So it's great that NRMA are getting behind that as well. So that's awesome. Can-Am have organised that one. So obviously there'll be a bit of a lean towards Can-Am on that, but that's okay. It's all about promoting the sport for everybody. Accommodation, like I said, you can bring your own stuff and you can camp if you want, but there are plenty of rooms. I believe there's still plenty of rooms available. There were like 20-something rooms spare when I booked mine, which was a few weeks ago. So feel free to book. It's not expensive. It's nice, clean rooms, shared bathrooms. So you'll be, whether you're camping or staying in a motel, it's the same bathrooms and showers and everything anyway. But yeah, I like to support the locals. So yeah, give them a ring. You can check out all the information on packsaddleroadhouse.com.au. All the details are on there. But I'm pretty sure you have to ring to book, and all the details for the phone number and everything is on there. The lovely Mia from Packsaddle Roadhouse will take your bookings, or any of the people there. So yeah, just make sure you book your accommodation if you want some, or take your own camping gear, completely fine. Just remember, this is new for all of us. It's not a commercial tour. We don't do commercial tours anymore. This is a club. We're all chipping in. We're all helping out. I know there's a bunch of guys I've done tours with in the past. Expectations for this ride, the riding is going to be epic. The scenery is going to be epic. The support is all of us. We're all going to chip in and help. If anything goes wrong, you're not going to get left on the side of the track. We're all going to chip in and make sure that you get looked after. I've got a lot of spares that I carry for Maverick X3s. A bunch of guys carry spares as well. They'll be back at the Roadhouse. If there's an issue, we can get you. You might need to jump in with one of us and we'll continue on the tour, and then we'll go back later on and get your machine. We'll work something out. But don't stress too much about that. You need to be self-sufficient, but not completely self-sufficient. We're not going to leave you out there in the middle of nowhere. Bring plug repair kits for your tyres. Bring a spare wheel and tyre if you can. It's always a lot quicker and a lot easier and a lot less stress for everybody else if you can just rip a wheel off, put another one on. Talk to your buddies that you're coming with. You don't need to bring a compressor if they're bringing a compressor. You know what I mean? Just share it all around. We'll have most gear for you anyway, but just don't rely on us. Bring your own gear. Make yourself self-sufficient. I'm sure you guys do rides outside of the club, so you're used to this stuff anyway. Just remember, it's a club ride. We're a bunch of buddies going for a ride. Yes, we've got insurance. Yes, it's semi-organised. It's not a commercial tour. So if things go awry with your machine, you can't just go, you guys need to fix that. That's not how it works. It's a club. I'm sure you all know that. Just needed to reiterate that. At some point, we're going to get lost. Not a guarantee, but I'm pretty sure at some point we're going to go down a track and we're going to get to a point and go, okay, we have to turn around and go back now. All part of the adventure, guys. That's what it's all about. We haven't pre-run this track. We're going to get out there and have a heap of fun. We're going to get lost. Noodles will find us back. There's not a problem. He is always going to get us back. We're going to be running the corner man system as we always do with this sort of adventure. We'll go through that at the briefing before the ride happens anyway. But if you don't know what the corner man system is, Google it. It's everywhere. It's really simple. So it basically means that you're going to be sitting at some point on an intersection and waiting until the sweep rider catches up and then going on. So it'll be a bit of a breather for you. And then everybody else will go through the circuit until we get back to your turn again. So there's not all that many intersections out there, but there's going to be some times where we're going through creek beds and things like that where there might be more than one way to go. We'll just make sure that we keep an eye on the person behind us. If you're driving along for about 5 minutes, just have a look behind you when you turn around a corner and make sure you can still see the dust of the person behind you. If you can't, maybe just stop. The sweep rider is always going to be the last person. It's probably going to be Baker. If it's not Baker, it's probably me. We've got someone coming along to take photos of this ride as well, a couple of people actually, which is going to be great. So there will be photographers out there. I'll be shooting video. Other people will be shooting video. If you're going to take GoPro footage, great. If you want to share your memory cards with me, perhaps on Saturday night, if something really cool has happened, then great. I'll have enough onboard footage to cover the video. But if something really cool happens, then I'll have my computer with me. So we'll just go through your footage and find out which file had the really cool thing on it. And we'll hopefully it's not somebody going turtle, but we'll see. And then I might grab that little bit of footage off you if that's okay. But it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be the biggest ride of the year, and it's the first time we've ever done it. I think it's the first time anyone's actually driven side by sides as part of a tour out on these stations. So it's a bit of a first. So yeah, watch the weather reports. If it looks like it's going to be a little bit of moisture around, pack accordingly. Just remember, wear gloves, wear eye protection. You've got to have a helmet on. So bring all the gear that you need. But the good thing is, as opposed to bike riding or quad riding, like we all know, you don't have to wear all the rest of the rubbish that goes along with it. You can still jump in and out and still walk around comfortably. You don't have to change shoes and all that sort of stuff. So that's the advantage we have with side-by-side riding. I think that's about everything we need to cover off in this episode 5 of Side-by-Side Australia podcast. So next episode, in episode 6, will be a post-ride rundown on Packsaddle. So hopefully we've got some really cool stories. The video would have already been out by then. But we'll drop it into the podcast as well in case you missed it. So we're also going to try to catch up with Ben Coachella from Adrenaline Off-Road. He was a lead rider in one of the Cape trips I did a few years ago with Can-Am in X3s. I actually sat in the passenger seat with him for I don't know how many 100 kilometres. Fantastic fella, really good tour operator, very level-headed. He and his wife do a lot of tours around the country. He owns a couple of four-wheel drive stores. I think they're about to open a few more, actually. Adrenaline Off-Road. They're in Sydney and Melbourne, I believe. But Ben and his wife spend most of their time travelling around the country running tours for their customers. And he's starting to open up the side-by-side thing to people outside his own customer base, which is really cool. So, hopefully that's going to be a good interview. Haven't done it yet, but the plan is to do it before the next podcast. Also going to catch up with Brian Wells from Undermary Expeditions. So they do side-by-side tours in the Kimberley. Yeah, that would be cool. Haven't done that one yet. That's one of the few places I haven't done a side-by-side ride before, but we're very much looking forward to all of the cool places that he has pretty much exclusive access to through the locals who live there and his contacts with them. He's doing some really cool stuff. So Undermary, so UNDUMERI Expeditions. Check him out on socials. They do some really cool rides. So we'll hopefully be chatting with him before the next podcast or maybe the one after as well. If there's any other commercial tour operators that are fully insured and that are legit and you can vouch for them that are out there, that you guys have done tours with before, let me know. I need to spread the word. Any ride opportunities that are legit, please let me know, and we'll promote them on the podcast. That's what it's all for. It's nothing to do with racing. It's all to do with adventuring. But for now, I've got to go and pack because we've got to get ready for the Packsaddle ride coming up in just under 2 weeks. So if you're not coming to that one, you're going to miss out on a really good ride, but you'll find out about it in episode 6. Okay, we will catch you later, or I'll see you guys at the Roadhouse. See ya.